strap on the boots and scrape up the knuckles.
Oh, what a hit!
He got jacked.
This is the Big Red Rage, presented by Santan Ford and Gilbert.
Murray's gonna score! Touchdown! Slammed to the ground by Budda Baker. Like a torpedo, he came flying into the backfield.
The Rage is brought to you by Santan Ford and Gilbert. Right on the price, right on the corner of the Santan 202 freeway in Val Vista.
What a grab by Trey McBride. That was spectacular.
And by Arizona Cardinals Podcast. Visit azcardinals.com/podcast.
The Red Sea is rising up.
Temperature rising, vision blurring, rage taking over.
Here's Paul Calvisi.
I'm ready. I'm 100% ready. I'm telling you I'm ready.
And Ron Wolfley.
It doesn't get any better than that.
Unleash the fury!
Here we go, Red Sea. Let Aaron Rodgers hear you. Come on now. I mean, he's used to getting booed, is he not? At home, because he was booed at home last week in the first half. There we were here on the Big Red Rage watching Aaron Rodgers on Thursday Night Football. This Sunday, you will see Aaron Rodgers in person against the first place Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, there you go, Paulie. Just say that again.
I mean, if you're looking at the standings and you're looking for the Cardinals, like, okay, let's see. Oh, there they are, all alone atop the NFC West. Wolf, let that wash over you.
Yeah, Paulie, I am. I'm wallowing in it right now. I really am. It's one of these situations where the Arizona Cardinals, once again, they have an opportunity in front of them, and it only gets bigger and bigger, it seems, with each passing week, especially leading up to the bye, Paulie. For me right now, confidence is so important, right? Collective confidence inside that locker room is so important, and just knowing that they have an opportunity to win their fourth game in a row and then head into the bye, I'm getting greedy, Paul. I want that.
Let me tell you something. You go into the bye at 6-4, and I'm just saying, okay, you've already played the NFL's toughest schedule.
Oh, my goodness.
And then you look at the rest of this schedule. You have 2 games against the Seahawks in a 3-week span out of the bye. And, oh, by the way, the Seahawks have lost 4 in a row at home and 5 out of 6 overall.
But who's counting?
The only words maybe as enjoyable as first-place Cardinals would be last-place Seahawks, which is the case right now. But as for this last
it's not
game,
nearly as fun with Pete Carroll not there.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, it's
That's
not
true.
nearly as poignant. Paul.
Yeah, I mean, at this rate, they might want to bring back Coach Double Rainbow. I'm just saying. Look, we're going to get into this game the Cardinals just played. We're going to get into a Jets team that's coming to town. They did put together a second half last week on Thursday Night Football where they forged 3 70-plus yard scoring drives, and Aaron Rodgers went from playing maybe the worst half of football all year to maybe his best half of football. We'll get into all that. We're going to be joined by Emari Demercado momentarily. But, Wolf, you mentioned the 3-game win streak. Let's hear from the head coach, Jonathan Gannon, after that 29-9 win over the Bears. Yes, the Cardinals' 3rd in a row.
Just day to day, man. Make every second count, keep the blinders on, maximize the day, maximize the period we're in, whether it's lifting, meeting, on the practice field and walk through. The leadership in the locker room is doing a really good job of making sure that everyone's focused, staying connected. I think we're earning wins right now because of the week.
There you go, Jonathan Gannon postgame. So it rained, then it hailed. Cardinals closed the roof and then closed out the Chicago Bears for the win. What'd you like the most, Wolf?
You know what, Paulie? This team continues to win games in different ways. That's what I like the most right now. When you stop and you think about it, you think about what happened in that second half in Miami, where suddenly Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. really went off in that second half, and they were able to throw the ball over 300 yards passing for Kyler Murray. They won the game against a very, very tough defense in terms of being able to stop the pass. The Miami Dolphins were the #1 pass defense in the National Football League when the Cardinals went to play them, Paulie. And you know that going into that game. And the fact that they were able to actually throw the ball as effectively as they were, that was really cool. How about the Chicago Bears? Well, guess what? Just happened to be the best team in the league in terms of the defensive quarterback rating. That means they were able to get pressure, of course, on an opposing quarterback and play coverage buttoned up in the back. Very, very good defensively against the pass. I think, for my money, it's the best team that I've seen on tape against the pass. And yet the Arizona Cardinals went out there and ran the ball, pounded the ball in between the tackles, handed the ball off, as a matter of fact, Paulie, to a running back 30 times for 203 yards. I'm not talking about Trey McBride. I'm not talking about Kyler running the ball. I'm not talking about that, Paul. I'm talking about putting a back behind Kyler Murray or next to him in the shotgun, snapping the ball, handing it off, and letting the running back run behind an offensive line. 30 times they did that for 203 yards. Paul, that is the veritable definition of ripping a heart out of your opposing defense, ripping it out.
I thought you were going to say the epitome of cram it vertical.
I was going to say that, Paulie.
Okay. 34 carries overall, 213 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground. What Marvin Harrison Jr. told us yesterday, said, look, they came out, they played 2 high safeties, shell coverage. They dared us to run it. So guess what? Cardinals ran it. And as Drew Petzing has said since, oh, yeah, you know what? We ran it until they stopped it. We're going to keep running it. So although, Kyler didn't play a bad game by any means, it wasn't a real productive, high-flying, statistical game for the quarterback.
The best thing he's doing right now, in my opinion, is protecting the ball. He's really, really good in terms of protecting the ball. That, to me, is really important. Kyler Murray has got a different skill set than a lot of quarterbacks that are out there. Caleb Williams, by the way, just watching him, my goodness, he is going to be a really good quarterback at some point in time. Provided he gets it between the ears, he's going to be great. But I look at his skill set, and it's similar to Kyler Murray. Now, he doesn't run a 4-3.
Correct.
And that's what Kyler does.
But he's elusive.
But he's elusive, and you could see that. That was on display. Maybe a little bit too elusive for himself.
Yeah, holding on to the ball way too long at times. But, yeah, you see the athleticism, the escapability. You see the arm talent, the ability to throw on the run. By the way, all of Kyler's analytics right now, he's the number 1 quarterback throwing on the run. Overall, he has 11 touchdowns, just 3 picks to your point. But the big number is 5-4. That's the Cardinals' record.
That's right, Paul.
And here's what the quarterback thinks about that.
I don't think anybody in the locker room is really surprised by it. That's where I think it differs from everybody outside of here is, I could have told you all, I felt like our record would be better than this right now. I can say that. But, yeah, I think just the way we approach every single day and the way we attack every single day, just taking it one day at a time, focusing on the process and playing one game at a time, not really focus on the future, and that's how you get the results. I don't see this group looking too far ahead.
Think about it. The receivers only had 2 catches on 7 targets.
Yeah.
They weren't even needed. The week before, as you mentioned, over 300 yards passing. So going back to Jonathan Gannon in our media question a couple of weeks ago, gee, Coach, what's the identity of the offense, right? And what did he say? The identity of the offense is what we need to be to beat you and win that game.
Boom, Paulie. There it is right there. Can I just say right now that is very Belichickian because that is Bill 100% right there. We're going to be whatever we need to beat you, period. And when I think about it, too, and I'm talking about winning games in different ways, Paulie, think about this. What was different about the Chicago Bears win based on what we have seen so far from the Arizona Cardinals? It was wire to wire. It was a wire-to-wire win against the Chicago Bears, okay? We haven't seen that. We haven't seen the Arizona Cardinals get off to a lead and never give the lead up and just hold the lead through the entire game. That's what I'm talking about. Then, the game before that, it was the Miami Dolphins. Kyler Murray took his team down the field, the last possession, never had a lead in the game. Went down the field 4 for 4 for 47 yards, as a matter of fact. And then, of course, we all know how important that run was, the 3rd and 4. Don't ask me why I'm remembering all this, Paul, right now, but the 3rd and 4, the direct snap, and there goes Kyler Murray on the scheduled run around the corner. Great block out on the end by Zay Jones. Great block on that right there. Got out over the edge, and suddenly the Arizona Cardinals had an opportunity to win a football game because of Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, to me, is, okay, he's not the guy that's going to go out there and throw the ball 300, 350 yards every game, but he's going to beat you because he can beat you in a lot of different ways, and so can the Arizona Cardinals, and I love that.
So the Bears have gone 13 straight games allowing 21 or fewer points, right? And that was the best streak in the NFL. Cardinals had 21 at halftime, and then to your point, closed it out 29-9. Let's give the defense a little love. Second time in 3 games they have kept the opponent out of the end zone. a Cardinals defense with 6 sacks, a dozen quarterback hits, and Zaven Collins leading the way. Oh, wait, the Zaven Collins who was our guest last week on the Big Red Rage. And here's his stat line: 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hits. He had 6 tackles. He had a tackle for loss. And it might have sounded a little bit like this.
Jailbreak from the very beginning right there, and Zaven Collins coming off the edge gets the sack.
Kind of moving all over the place, doing different things, dropping in coverage and certain pressures. So, yeah, it's fun. I guess I got to come on the Big Red Rage every week, too.
There you go. That's a double ding. Zaven Collins. That was a heck of a game. I mean, Wolf, to me right now, okay, you see all the big names and the weapons on offense, but the defense has been banged up, right? And you made a trade this week for Baron Browning. He's a pass rusher from the Denver Broncos. But can the Red Sea believe in this defense and the improvement they have made over the last month? What do you make of this defense that all of a sudden is playing a lot better? Last 3 games allowing 17 points per game, which puts them, on the upper half of the NFL. I'm just curious what you think is about the staying power when it comes to how the defense is playing right now.
Yeah, Paulie, you know what? They've got a lot of guys that are competing. They do. They have a lot of guys that will not quit. They have a lot of guys, especially in that box right now on the defensive line, that are giving everything they've got. It's amazing. I know what that's like, because that was me for 10 years in the National Football League, just giving everything that I had. That was the one talent God gave me, was the fact that I could be more desperate than you were, and I could bring that desperation to the field, and I could do it play after play after play. That's what I'm seeing from this defense right now. But you know what, honestly, Paulie, this is exactly what Monty Ossenford is looking for. This is what JG is looking for. These are the types of guys that they are looking for, and it's the reason why they're here. It's the reason why they're on the roster. And now all of a sudden they're getting the opportunity to go out there and play, and their desperation is showing. When you think of the Arizona Cardinals defense, Paulie, would it shock you right now to know they're the number 11 red zone defense in the National Football League?
A little bit.
A little bit,
a little
right?
bit, yep.
A little bit right now. When you get into the Arizona Cardinals plus 20 and in, that's where they want you right now for the most part. Okay, now are they giving up yards out on the field? Yes, they are. But, man, they're doing an excellent job of keeping you out of the end zone once you get into their red zone right now. That, Paul, is the definition, as you well know, classic definition of bend but don't break. That's what's happening right now, and you're starting to see it. Look at the points. Number 19 in the NFL in points allowed. 19. Okay, at the beginning of the season, as you well know, Paul, they're near the end, near the bottom. Number 32, number 31, 30. And now all of a sudden they're up to 19, 23.8 points per game.
Well, think about it. The first half of their schedule, right? I mean, look at the NFL.com power rankings right now. Number 1, Detroit. Number 3, Buffalo. Number 5, Washington.
Hello.
Number 8, Green Bay.
Yeah.
Cardinals played every one of those teams. So when you look at weeks 1 through 6, they are allowing just over 27 points per game. The last 3 weeks, 7 through 9, about 17 points per game. So I think there's been improvement. But guess what? You're also playing some of the best teams in the NFL, and you have to adjust accordingly. You got a Cardinals defense that puts 16 different players out there with a quarterback pressure, which is the most by any team in any game since 2018. So it's different guys. But there are a couple of superstars out there, in my opinion. Budda Baker is going to be an all-pro. Second straight game with a dozen tackles. He needs 9 tackles to reach 100, and there's 8 games to play. It's crazy what he's doing right now.
That is ridiculous right now. That really is. Anyone that is listening, you have to totally anyone who gets anywhere close to 200 tackles on the year, you are an absolute freak show.
I mean, did you hear Aaron Rodgers this week, in his highly paid appearance with Pat McAfee, and out of nowhere, he just brought up what Budda Baker looks like on film. So that's how he's jumping off the film, and to opponents, that's what he looks like to opposing quarterbacks. He is the heartbeat of that defense more than ever. Kaiser White and Mack Wilson at the second level, and Mack Wilson off the edge. And then I think the corners have been improving a lot. Max Melton, Starling Thomas, Garrett Williams, what he's been doing.
Don't get me started on the defensive quarterback rating. The Arizona Cardinals, over the last 3 games, 87.5. Anything under 90, you're doing your job defensively.
A single game tickets on sale now. Visit azcardinals.com/buy tickets to secure your seats today. We're going to be joined in a bit by Emari Demercado. It is the Big Red Rage here at Trophy in Chandler, located on Queen Creek Road between Price and Dobson. All brought to you by Santan Ford in Gilbert.
Murray under center, takes the snap, and it's a jet sweep. Near side, McBride stiff-arming, getting close to the goal line. Touchdown, Trey McBride on the handoff, and the Cardinals strike first. Murray barking out the call. Takes the snap, hands it off, Benson running left, dives into the end zone for his first touchdown.
Give it to Trey Benson. Let him get a little pay dirt, a little grease for Trey Benson.
All right, so for those who don't have their Wolfleyism to English translation dictionary, grease wolf, the definition thereof in a football sense, grease means...
Anything you do well, Paul.
I see.
At the expense of somebody else, for the most part. You get the grease, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Did you ever bite into a greasy hamburger, Paulie?
I see.
That's pretty good, man.
All right. You know who else has been pretty good? The Cardinals run game and Trey McBride.
Oh, my goodness.
Let's get into it. We're going to be joined momentarily by Emari Demercado. It is the Big Red Rage presented by Santan Ford and Gilbert. We're live at Trophy in Chandler, located on Queen Creek Road between Price and Dobson. Let's just start with Trey. Guess what? He has 45 catches this year for just under 500 receiving yards. Top 3 in both categories around the league. And he doesn't even have a receiving touchdown yet. They haven't even unlocked the full potential of Trey McBride.
No, Paulie. And once again, coming into this season, we were talking about it as well. This is really, really important, folks. And the reason why it's important is because if the Arizona Cardinals can go 11 personnel, like so many other teams in the National Football League that go 1 back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers in rundown situation, which is 1st and 10, 2nd and 1 to 6. If you can do that and actually be 50-50 in terms of running the ball or throwing the ball, you have an offense that is at an advantage as opposed to everybody else.
Let's see, the Niners do that, the Rams do that,
Paulie,
the Lions do that.
Man, all the good teams, Paulie, do it. If you've got a true stud tight end, and this is the reason why I continue to challenge Trey McBride every time we see Trey. And I love the kid because he has accepted that challenge that his coach, Ben Steele as well, is giving him. He's accepted that challenge of being good and wanting to be good at the point of attack. Trey wants to be good. He wants to be a George Kittle. That's the reason why the 49ers are so good at running the ball, because they can get into 11 personnel with George Kittle and run the ball as physically as if they were in 12 or 13 personnel. Because of that, Trey McBride, he tries and he blocks and he does well. The Arizona Cardinals can do it with Trey McBride. They can do it in 11 personnel, but that's not where they get their best stuff to me. When they bring Tip Ryman in 12 personnel, that's when they're going to blow your face off, Paul.
By the way, that's why Trey McBride on this very show dubbed you the quality control run game tight end blocking coordinator, I think was the title he gave you, if memory serves on that one.
I don't think so, Paul.
Okay, you're giving credit to the tight ends, as you rightfully should. Yelda Froholt, the quarterback of the offensive line, the starting center, is playing some really good ball, by the way, was asked about this run game, another cram-it vertical game, 213 yards. By the way, that's better than 6 yards a carry. And Froholt paid it forward. He credited the running backs. Here's Fro.
I got to give credit to that running back room. They played their asses off. And, I mean, Emari coming big up with us right there at the end of the half with that long touchdown. And, you know, Connor doing Connor things. And then Trey coming in there, too, and getting a lot of good carries. So it was awesome seeing those guys at work.
You know, he also was asked about just all the pulling guards and how active the offensive front is. Not just the tight ends, but those guards are pulling. Yelda Froholt is getting out on the move. I mean, you tell us.
He's so good at that, Paul,
right?
on the move.
I mean, there's
for a big man.
And they're moving the way to hear him explain it. Okay, I don't want to get over my skis here. To hear him explain it, you're taking what's supposed to be a front side gap and you're moving to the backside because you got guys on the move, and it's just you're taking defensive fronts by surprise and gaining that leverage.
Yeah, Paulie, there's no doubt about it. The thing I enjoy the most right now, the Arizona Cardinals are really, really good in terms of zone schemes. You want to run the zone? They got the zone down. They're able to do that. Of course, the tackle zone. It's so important, especially for play action. That's the play where suddenly you have James Conner. He's standing in the queue directly behind Hail Emari, who's under center as the quarterback. Now, all of a sudden, you snap the ball, and Kyler runs to that mesh point. What do you think those two inside linebackers are doing when he's running to that mesh point, and here comes James Conner? They have to stay right where they are, dare I say even come up into the box even more, because they know it's James Conner and they're afraid of getting their face run over, right? So they come up, and then of course you've got wide receivers that are running in routes, crossing routes, or tight ends doing the same thing behind them. And then you can throw the ball over their head in play action. It's such a simple idea. It is. But it takes execution to do it. And the Arizona Cardinals are becoming really, really good at running the ball, attacking the line of scrimmage, and then throwing it over your head. And Paul, can I just say this? As we go forward in the season, Trey Benson and Emari Demercado, those two guys have got to step up, because James Conner is going to get beat up. If he just continues to go down this road, he's going to miss some games, okay? I don't believe in jinxes or anything like that. I'm just stating a fact. Trey Benson and Emari Demercado have got to continue to step up the way that they did last week. And now all of a sudden you're going to be able to spot James Conner in games, and that's important.
Well, JC has been limited in practice so far this week, listed with a finger injury, so we'll see. He had 18 carries, over 100 yards rushing. That was 6 yards a carry. By the way, the Cardinals are 3-1 when he has 100 or more rushing yards so far this season.
Ding!
So there's a direct correlation on that. Now, look, I want to get a quick word on this Jets defense, because that is the calling card of this New York team. They come in 3-6, but they just had a really good second half to secure a win against a pretty good Houston team that looked totally discombobulated. And just to remind everybody, there were two teams last year that started 3-6 and made the playoffs, the Rams and Packers. And that's what Aaron Rodgers and the Jets have designs on doing. And they're coming off a game where that defense against Houston's O-line had 8 sacks and 19 pressures on C.J. Stroud. So where does this start when you look at this Jets defense, Wolf? What would you tell us in terms of a scatter report here as we look at Sunday?
Yeah, for me, Paulie, once again, this is another excellent pass defense. This is another really good. This is, I would say, team number 4 now that have really, really good defenses that the Arizona Cardinals have faced. Think about the Chargers game.
Yep.
Chargers were what, Paulie? Number 1 in the league in
number 1 scoring
allowed,
defense.
Right?
Yep.
Number 1 scoring defense in the league. Really, really good. And then you think, of course, of the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins were the number 1 pass defense in the league. And you think of the Bears and how good their defense was. Well, guess what? Here it comes with the New York Jets all over again. Number 2 and number 3, respectively, in passing yards per game allowed and passing yards per play allowed. Number 4 overall in total defense, and number 1 in yards per play allowed. The New York Jets have ballers.
Hey, learn more about Arizona Cardinals single game tickets, premium seating, group tickets, the all-new luxury field seating experiences. All you have to do for all your Cardinals ticket information, go to azcardinals.com/tickets, azcardinals.com/tickets. All right, Emari Demercado joins us. When we come back, we'll get into this one and continue here on the Big Red Rage presented by Santan Ford and Gilbert. We are Santan Ford.
Oh.
Runs it far side and breaking free is Demercado at the 40, near side 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown! With 4 seconds left in the half, the Bears never expected that. Demercado on a handoff runs 53 yards for a touchdown.
Forget about the Hail Mary. How about the Hail Emari? Demercado down the sideline. Oh my goodness. what a great call by Drew Petzing. The Bears never saw it coming.
Yeah, no big deal. Just the longest touchdown in the final 20 seconds of a first half in the NFL since at least 1970.
Oh.
Think about that. And then think about how we're going to hear from the guy who actually housed it. Emari Demercado, everyone, here on the Big Red Rage, presented by Santan Ford and Gilbert.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on.
Emari, great to have you. By the way, did you happen to see the video component of that radio call? Ron Wolfley starring on the GoPro. Did you happen to see that?
You thought that was funny?
It was dope.
I don't know about the head thing, Paul, if I'm okay with it. You know, the head getting massive all of a sudden. And I mean,
well, I would file that away. That's the first time anybody's looked you in the eye and said that was dope. Okay? I would file that away. I don't think that happens to you very often. You need to appreciate what just happened right here, Wolf.
Okay, Paul, thank you.
All right, what did you – I want to hear what happened on that play from your perspective. Now that you have had time, all right, to really think about it, you've seen it on film. You know, what can you tell us here that isn't classified? Like, what was the name of the play, if you remember? Then just sort of take us through first, second, third level. You're gone.
Yeah, it was really just a wide zone play to the right, and we were really just trying to get a few yards for the field goal to get in range, and then they just blocked it up perfectly, and it's like, you got to score on this. Like, you can't not score. Like, you don't get too many plays that look that good.
So, Emari, that was a call. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but that was a call where you guys were trying to basically get into field goal range.
Exactly.
Were you not?
Yeah, it was just like, let's get this 5, and then we're in range.
Okay, so when did you know, Emari? Like, wait a minute, man. Let's house this thing.
As soon as I cut up field, like I said, it was just blocked so perfect. I'm like, there's no way I don't score right here.
So because the Cardinals had a timeout left, you were safe running the ball.
Yeah.
But when the play was called in the huddle, anyone go, wait, what? We're running it? Was there anyone like, oh, are we sure about this?
No, we've actually done it a few times, like just to get in the field goal range. Like if we need, our kickers can bang it away. So we just need to get to that line. So usually we'll call a little run to get 3 or 4 yards to get there.
By the way, Evan Brown, after the game, was asked about it. He said, yeah, I looked up and I knew it was gone. He said, but let's face it, if our back couldn't get 40 yards in 8 seconds, then we probably need a new running back, which was pretty funny. I thought that was the quote of the game.
That's valid.
That's pretty good.
A pretty good point.
So, Emari, I guess you don't have to answer this, but I'd like for you to answer this question, okay? Were you prepared to give yourself up and call a timeout on that play at all once you gained X amount of yards, knowing that you only had 12 seconds on the clock?
I mean, in the ideal world, yes.
Okay. Are you aware of that, though, as you're running the ball?
Because we knew we were trying to kick a field goal. We're about to go in the half. But then once you get that look, it's kind of like it just kind of went out the window.
I mean, honestly, that is still incredible to see that right there. That play, what made you think that you guys could run that play? Because you called it a wide zone.
Yeah.
But to me, I saw the center and the guard pull like it was a power scheme.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like a wide zone power scheme. So it's wide zone, but with pullers. So we're just
they blocked it a different way.
Trying to get out on the edge and then just displace them like horizontally and then get upfield. So like I said, it's just to get a few yards and then it all worked out.
Yes, it did.
It was solid in the locker room. I heard a couple of tight ends taking credit for key blocks they threw on that 53-yard touchdown run. So it's good. Everybody,
Everybody played a part in that one.
That's right. Okay, so you heard it there. Not sure if you've heard it yet in Spanish.
No.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
Here we go. The great Luis Hernandez in 3, 2, 1.
Mercado encuentra el hueco, explota a la yarda 40, a la 30, le mete el acelerador, a la 5, a la 10, 4, 3, Emari Demercado, touchdown de Arizona. Emari Demercado, the market, no, es Demercado touchdown.
Oh, my gosh, that never gets old. That's really good. As our Jim Alonso said, between that and the Trey Benson, right, and then the Trey McBride, dos tres, sort of the, in Spanish. It's Luis Hernandez is going to try and work that in this week. So let's get this straight. We had 3 guys with rushing touchdowns, and none was named Kyler or James Conner. So if nothing else, did this game not show the depth of talent on offense, right?
Yeah, I think we're a very well-rounded offense, and we have a lot of weapons.
You know, that run before the half, of course, it made the game, what, 21-9, did it not, Paul? Am I remembering that correctly right there? 21-9. You could almost see the Chicago Bears players going in at the half and being deflated with their head down. You could almost see it, and I've been in that position. I know what that's like. It's really important. Right before a half or at the end of a game, obviously, right? To make a play like that. You've been on the opposite end of that.
Yeah. Especially like you said, at the end of the half, they were getting the ball back, so they wanted some momentum, so that kind of deflated them.
You know, and you know what? I mean, it's amazing how many different guys cited that they just looked like a different team. And Wolf, I mean, that's why your call was so poignant, the Hail Emari, because the week before everyone had wondered, would there be some sort of hangover coming off that loss on the Hail Mary?
Well, it was so funny because I got to tell you this right now. I was talking about, hey, how about a 5 route? How about a 5 route out there to Marvin Harrison Jr.? And then Dave Batch was talking about, hey, how about a Hail Mary down the sideline? That's it, and all of a sudden it was the Hail Emari handing the ball off. It was still an incredible call by Drew Petzing, but I got to credit you. Because that play, again, you don't expect to score on that play, and yet you were ready. You looked like you expected it the whole time.
Yeah, it was just right place, right time.
Let me ask you a question. Did you run the 40 coming out of college?
I did, but mine was hand time, so it's unofficial.
Because that wasn't the only play where your speed looked like it took the Bears defense by surprise.
Yeah.
Because you're a third down back mainly, and you're such an excellent blocker and pass pro, do guys underestimate your burst?
For sure. And I think people just say, like, my body type doesn't look like I'm fast. So people always don't expect that.
So what's a realistic 40? When you were coming out of college, in your prime, you're still, what, 25? I mean, right? I mean, I'm
He's
just
in
saying,
his prime now, Paul.
Exactly. That's a bad joke. But honestly, what sort of 40?
So they clocked me at 4.4, but like I said, that's unofficial, so I don't know what my true laser time is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That was me, Paul. I went to the combine, of course, and Emari, I was a 218-pound fullback, if you can imagine that, all right? 218 pounds at the combine. They clocked me at a 4.58 and a 4.59. That was back when it was handheld as well.
Yeah. Hey. That's all you got to go off of.
Here's what I want to know. Kyler has a 50-yard touchdown run this year. He has a 44-yard touchdown run this year. But you had a 53-yard touchdown run. Did you walk by Kyler and sort of let him know you got the clubhouse lead? Did you let your quarterback know?
I didn't. I should. I think my speed was just a little higher too.
Emari, how important do you think it is? I mean, I think it's really important, but I want to get your take on this. How important is it where you and Trey Benson can help spot James Conner right now?
Yeah, I think that's huge. James is great, but at some point, he needs a little break. So for us to be able to take a little the load off him, I think that's big to keep him going and keep him fresh.
He's obviously one of the best in the league. What do you think you've learned the most, or what's rubbed off on you just being around James Conner?
The biggest thing is his work ethic. Like, he's never not working. He's always doing something, whether that's in the training room, in the weight room. Like, he's always working on his craft.
What are you seeing from Trey Benson right now as well?
Yeah, Trey's coming along. He's under James's wing, so he's just trying to take in everything. And I think every week he's getting better and better and more confident.
Do you think your role right now, Emari, is going to continue to grow? Because I would like to see it grow.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like you said, I would hope for that. But at the end of the day, I can control what I can control. I want to get involved in the pass game, the run game, whatever they want from me. So whatever they give me, I'll take it and run with it.
I mean, I'm looking at your season and a half in the NFL, and you have 3 career rushing touchdowns of 49, 11, and 53 yards. I mean, you
pretty good.
You need to walk this into JG's office. You know what I mean? Free Emari.
Not 4.58, 4.59,
okay,
but
that's
it's
enough.
Still pretty good.
That's enough, Wolf. We need to hear from Marvin Harrison Jr. because, as we detailed earlier, you go from a game against Miami where you threw for more than 300 to now you go a game against Chicago, and okay, they're going to run the 2 high safeties, the shell coverage. We'll bust it for 200 yards on the ground. And here's Marvin Harrison Jr. just on the versatility of the offense.
That's the sign of a great offense. Teams may, like you said, may want to take away the run, how Miami did, and sometimes we got to pass the ball. And receivers have to kind of make plays on the outside to help win the game. You have a situation last week where they kind of play a lot of cover 2, a lot of shell defense, and kind of forcing you to run the ball. And we ran it for about 200 yards. So I think the great offenses can do both.
I mean, you can scheme up as much as you want during the week, and you can script out the first 15 plays or whatever the norm is. But how much does the offense adjust to what the defense is showing, and then sort of stress that accordingly?
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. Like you said, you script out those plays, and then you kind of feel the temperature of the game. And like Miami, like they were playing to run heavy, so we had to adjust. And this week, like you said, they were too high, running a lot of shell, so we just knew we had to lean on the run game. So that's the biggest thing, just being able to adjust. That's what's going to make a good offense, because you don't want to be one-dimensional.
How is that offensive line coming together right now?
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys have been banged up,
Yeah.
nicked up. Will Hernandez no longer there. Jonah Williams, of course, is trying to get his way back into it right now. Talk a little bit about the offensive line and how you guys are gelling up front.
Yeah, I think they're gelling great. I think that's a testament to them. Like you said, with injuries, there hasn't been any drop-off in the play. And in our run game especially, like, we're really strong. So I think that's just a really big testament to those guys and how hard they work.
Mm-hmm.
There's some of the analytics about how often Cardinals, the interior linemen, pull. And we even see Paris on the move too, right? So, I mean, what does that mean for a running back? Does that mean you have to be a little more patient and wait for those guys to get up ahead of you?
You just kind of got to let it develop in front of you. But it's also a good feeling to know you got Paris Johnson running in front of you to block. So.
Yeah. That's, I mean, when you're watching film, do you ever watch with the offensive line? Is that something you do as a group to try and sync up the backs and the line?
We watch some stuff together, like our protection plans for the pass game, and but we do install like our run and passes all together as a unit.
Sure. And you as a third down back, all right? For those folks who aren't aware, I mean, that's how you earned a role, a spot in the 53. Is that something you did a lot of in college, or were you just a quick learner?
I think it's a little bit of both. In college, I kind of was getting the grasp of it, but I wasn't really good at it. And I think now I'm able to make my technique better, and this made me a good blocker. So just putting those two things together has worked out a lot.
It's one of the reasons why I think you're really destined to be one of the best third down backs in the league.
That's the plan.
I'm telling you, you can pick up, you can hold up and blitz pickup. That's big.
Yes, sir.
Well, they're not trusting just anybody to protect their $50 million a year quarterback. So there's got to be some urgency.
Yeah,
you got that
I take a lot of pride in that,
I bet. We continue with Emari Demercado. It's the Big Red Rage live from Trophy and Chandler, located on Queen Creek Road between Price and Dobson, presented by Santan Ford. Ciao.
Boot to the left. Looking, dumping it off near side. Hill caught it and tackled immediately by Budda Baker. It's going to be a negative play as Hill and Budda Baker are jawing a little bit.
Tua Tagovailoa on the left, trying to hit Tyreek Hill in the flat. Budda Baker said, no way. Came up and absolutely jacked Tyreek Hill.
Watching Budda Baker on film, that's impressive. I mean, he's a really impressive guy. He does so many different things, DB. You got to love watching this guy. He shows up all over the place. You know, he lines up in different spots. He's run all over the place. He's a phenomenal tackler. He throws his body around. You know, there's a few secondary guys over the years where you're like, okay, I got to know where this guy's at before the snap. And Budda is one of those guys. You just got to know where he's at. I mean, the tape doesn't lie, they always say. And his tape looks pretty damn good.
There we go. That's Aaron Rodgers unprompted on watching Cardinals film on the Pat McAfee show, just shouting out Budda Baker, 2 straight games, 12 tackles in each. He's the second leading tackler in the NFL. You look at the top 10, it's all middle linebackers and Budda, who's number 2 with 91 tackles in the NFL. It's a Big Red Rage presented by Santan, Ford, and Gilbert. Emari Demercado is our guest. Do you ever take a moment on the bench, you got a Gatorade, and you're looking at the big screen? Do you ever, yeah, there's Budda making another play.
All the time. He's always around the ball, always. And then I love the way he hops up after he makes a play.
He did a great kip up in this last game. Yeah.
He does it all the time. And everything I've seen on the football field, not named Saquon, because what Saquon Barkley did.
Okay. All right, running back to running back. Emari Demercado, what did you think of like that backwards leapfrog, whatever they're calling it?
Unreal. That's the only word for that. It makes no sense.
Okay, like when you see that though, what is the hardest part? What do you think would be the hardest thing to do?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
to me, he just reacted.
Yeah.
It fired immediately for him to not even think about it. He just reacted. That's the thing that blows my mind. Okay.
Are you a hurdle guy? Have you ever pulled a hurdle, like college or
in junior college, but nothing crazy.
Because Trey McBride's had 2 straight hurdles.
Yeah, he's a big dude, so he knows DBs will try to go along him. Yeah, the one last week, he jumped before the dude even committed to the tackle, so I was like, he knew.
So when you look at the New York Jets and you watch them on tape right now, what are you seeing out of this defense?
Very physical. They fly around and they get to the ball. I think that's been a strong point of this team for 3-4 years now. Like, they play really good defense.
Yeah, in fact, here's your head coach, Jonathan Gannon. Let's hear from JG on the Jets D.
Their front's really good, and they got good backers, and they got guys that can cover. So all 3 levels, they got star power and guys that win a lot of one-on-ones. They play collectively well together, I think. Talking about Brick, I think he does a good job coordinated with doing what they do, but giving you enough, curve balls that you can't just bank them for certain things. But it starts with their front, and their front can get to it.
Yeah, talking about Jeff Ulbrich, who's now the interim head coach, the defensive coordinator. I mean, the numbers last week against Houston, 8 sacks, 19 quarterback pressures. I mean, what can you tell us about the how and the where? I mean, where were they so successful in that game?
Yeah, just a lot of stunts, and then just like JG said, they can get to it. They come off the ball really hard, and they get into their pass rush kind of like the 49ers, which is the same style defense. But, yeah, they're just really good at what they do, like you said.
For me, Paul, I look at it. You got defensive tackle Quinnen Williams.
Oh.
Okay.
He's a dude.
He's a dude right there, no doubt about it. Javon Kinlaw as well.
Former first-round pick of the Niners.
Pretty good player right there, Javon Kinlaw. You've got Hassan Reddick. You got Quincy Williams. You have C.J. Mosley, Sauce Gardner. This team is loaded with really, really good defensive players right now. And you know what? The numbers back it up. Number 4 in yards per game allowed. Number 1 in yards per play allowed. It's pretty good. Yeah.
So as the blocking back, how often do you ever encounter or have to take on a Quinnen Williams?
I mean, we try to limit that as much as possible, but sometimes, they key up the stunt the right way, and you got to take on that block.
Here comes a 330-pound nose tackle.
They say just die slow. That's how you just got to fall on your back as slow as possible.
That's good. Well, speaking of Quinnen Williams, we're going to go into the archives, all right? Here he is before the Orange Bowl college football semifinal playoff game, 2018, against Heisman winner Kyler Murray. So this is Bama against Oklahoma. This is before the game. And listen to Quinnen Williams. He starts talking about defending Kyler, and then maybe he starts hearing Nick Saban in his ear. Here's how it went.
Have you gone up against any quarterback that slightly resembles Kyler Murray?
No, I don't feel like I have going against a quarterback slightly resembling Kyler Murray, but I feel like Kyler Murray is not where everybody.
What's that?
No, I'm good.
He was about to give away some key point of the game plan.
He was going to say something there, Paul.
And
something Nick Saban did not like.
Or either something was going to go on a bulletin board somewhere, and he's like, no, I'm good. And so he bailed out of that. By the way, he has 5 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 13 quarterback hits this year on that front. So, look, I mean, you look at their defense. How much of what they did in their last game goes into the game plan this week? Because they had their best game by far last week against Houston.
I think a big part, we have to go off what's most recent, and that's the most recent, they just got Devontae Adams, so they're feeling really good. They're playing really well. So we just have to go off what we have, and that's that.
For me right now, Sauce Gardner, when I watch him over the last couple of years, the way he has developed as a corner, he is long. He is the whippiest, most athletic guy I think I've seen since Mel Blount. And Mel Blount wasn't really super hyper athletic, but he was long and whippy. And I see Sauce Gardner right now. What do you see when you look at him on tape?
Like you say, just a big, long corner, and he excels in covering. And I think, it's just a testament to what he's done it for the last few years, and he's just going to keep doing it.
Do you ever have those moments, because, you know, you're still in your second year, go, man, this is the NFL when I see a guy like Sauce Gardner. I mean, he's just like Jalen Ramsey 2 weeks ago. You're like, this dude's a corner who plays all over the field.
And he's a big dude, too.
Yes.
Like, that play where he deflected the ball and he stretched out, I was like.
So quickly, the baddest man you played against right now, you, personally.
I think I'm going to go with Fred.
Fred Warner.
Or Patrick Queen.
Oh.
Or not Patrick Queen, I'm sorry, Roquan.
Okay, Roquan, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Here's my
Roquan Smith.
Yes.
Here's my closing question. Emari Demercado, have you ever been in a 4-day darkness retreat like Aaron Rodgers did 2 years ago? Have you ever done anything like that?
I can't say I have.
Because I still like the answer. He said, all the answers are right inside me, and I touch many of them during my darkness retreat. So we'll see if you can put Aaron Rodgers into a different sort of darkness on Sunday. Special thanks to Jim Omohundro, Cody Fincher, Walt Ellis, Lawrence Ellis, Matt Lazarus, Veron Wolfley, and Paul Calvisi. Emari Demercado, everyone, on the Big Red Rage, presented by Santan Ford in Gilbert.